So the macronutrient I will be focusing on will be lipids. Lipids are more commonly known as fats. This includes triglycerides, phospholipids, and sterols. The RDA does recommend people consume between 20 and 35%. However, the American diet does typically go over that because of the types of food available in the United States. We do have good fats and bad fats. Obviously, they are essential in the functions of body regulations and cells and all that fun stuff, but they can contribute to health risks as well. So we have triglycerides, which contain 3 carbon molecules and 3 fatty acids. However, they can contain a variation of fatty acids. These fatty acids, which are pretty much a chain of carbon with a acid group attached to the end, determines the function of a triglyceride in the body. There are 3 main types: saturated, unsaturated, and trans fatty acids. These saturated fatty acids, you want to be careful of consumption because it is linked to heart disease, and they are found in animal sources such as red meat, butter, cheese, and whole milk. And then we have unsaturated fats, which is more heart helpful. This includes monounsaturated and polyunsaturated. They aren't as stable, they can become bad easily and distort the flavor of foods, but they are much better for our bodies. Monounsaturated fats include like plant oils, nuts, avocados, and polyunsaturated fats are broken down to omega-3s and omega-6s. Omega-3s you can find from fish, nuts, certain oils, and then omega-6 you can find through nuts, plant oils, and sunflower seeds, I think. Yeah. So then we have trans fatty acids, which we want to avoid at all costs if possible. It really isn't great for our body. It is linked to heart disease as well. These are created by hydrogenation, which pretty much means hydrogen atoms were incorporated back into the carbon double bonds of unsaturated fats. And it does increase the chance of heart disease as well, so always be careful. We do have to consume lipids from our diet if it's not enough in our bodies. Obviously, our bodies cannot use these lipids to perform certain functions if they don't even have them to begin with. So next we have phospholipids. These are essentially emulsifiers. It is what allows fats and waters to mix in the body. Foods that do this are actually known as emulsifiers. We do have food elements like lectin and pectin that are used in food production that help certain ingredients mix with others. But lectin helps maintain cell membranes, for example. Phospholipids do take on this emulsifying property to allow these oils to hold up in watery environments, which is essential for lipid bilayers. Phospholipids do create lipid bilayers, which are essential in cell membranes because they allow one watery end to stay in the watery environment while the lipid end can link together to form a lipid membrane. So that's really important for cells to function in different environments. And then we have sterols. The most recognized term is cholesterol. They're actually produced in the liver, so it's not essential. The highest concentration of cholesterol is found in cell membranes, but they're also used for myelin in nerve cells. The main function of cholesterol is synthesization, and it is only found in animal sources. So the main function of lipids is for energy. It does provide molecules, energy that are broken down to form ATP. We also use them for hormone production, and it is found in processes that support brain and nerve functions as well. They do protect internal organs and insulate our bodies and regulate our temperature, so it's not just an aesthetic thing as well. I know that if you have too much fat in your body, it turns into collection in the adipose tissue, which is great because it does store energy and lubricates body surfaces, but if you have too much adipose tissue, that is what causes body fat. Our body can either use the energy right away that triglycerides store in adipose tissue, or it can be retrieved when the body is low on energy. Omega-3s and omega-6 fatty acids are needed for reproduction, development, and growth. They are also found in the assistance of red blood cells for structural support, cells in the augmentary system, and they form eicosanoids, which helps relate body functions such as blood clotting. So absorption and transportation, most fat absorption occurs in the small intestine, which is then digested and mixed with bile acids to form micelles. These micelles actually facilitate absorption Fat-soluble vitamins are absorbed, and those that are not get grouped with the micelles. So there is a function for that too. Some lipids are soluble in water. They get transported into the blood. However, the non-soluble type of lipids get transported through lipoproteins. So there are different types of lipoproteins. We have the chylomicrons, the VLDLs, which is the very low density lipoproteins, the LDLs, and HDLs. The chylomicron is the largest and contains the most triglycerides to pass through the lymph. The VLDLs transport them from the liver, and it delivers into smaller particles. The LDLs have a high amount of cholesterol. It is the primarily the main delivery system for cholesterol, and then the HDLs have a high protein content, but they also transport cholesterol to the liver for elimination. So some health risks of lipids can obviously occur when you consume certain amounts. Arteriosclerosis does occur when cholesterol accumulates in the arterial walls, which can block blood flow. It is linked to high levels of cholesterol, saturated fat, and trans fat. Dietary patterns emphasize consuming unsaturated fat over fat options, as I mentioned. We have the bad fats and the good fats for you. Obviously, the ones that you consume that are unsaturated are more helpful to your body and help lower the risk of chronic diseases and decrease inflammation. But excessive fat in general can contribute to weight gain and obesity, which is a big problem in the United States because, as I mentioned earlier, the consumption of certain foods that we have available here. Again, the extra fat does get stored in adipose tissue, which is easy to store, easy to accumulate, and easy for people to gain weight. But yeah, that is the rundown of lipids.